Do you live with a subtraction perspective or a multiplication mindset? Because the Lord operates with a multiplication perspective, he could say to the widow of Zarephath, "The bin of flour shall not be used up, nor shall the jar of oil run dry, until the day the Lord sends rain on the earth." With no human provider, rain, or food, the widow of Zarephath was almost paralyzed by fear. She had only enough flour and oil for one more meal and went out to gather sticks to prepare what she thought would be their last meal. Then, a stranger in travel-worn clothes stopped in front of her shack and asked for a drink of water. As she went to fetch the water, the prophet Elijah added bread to his request. She responded, "As the Lord your God lives, I do not have bread, only a handful of flour in a bin and a little oil in a jar." Her plan, limited by the subtraction perspective, was to prepare the meal for herself and the son, eat it, and die. But God had different plans. To those who do not understand the multiplication perspective, God's servant's words might have seemed insensitive. After telling her not to fear, Elijah asked her to make a small cake for him first and bring it to him. But then the prophet added God's promise. The bin of flour would not be used up, nor the jar of oil run dry until the end of the drought. Like our tithes and offerings today, it was a test of trust. Embracing God's multiplication perspective, the widow of Zarephath trusted that the prophetic word was God's answer to her desperate situation. Putting God first was, and still is, a strategy for survival. Would we also trust God when he asks us to return our tithes and promise offerings to him first? Or would we be paralyzed by fear? Only by trusting in God's promises can we truly put him first. As we return the tithe and promise offerings, let us cast away fear and embrace God's multiplication mindset. May we put our desires last and God first.